Welcome back to JP26. This is your boy JP. And of course, this is Studio 26. We got 6 storylines to go over, and we got no time to lose. Let's get into it.
Keep it real, JP. 26 for the studio. What's the deal lately? To the 6 storylines we go. Keep it real, JP. 26 for the studio. What's the deal lately? To the 6 storylines we go. Hey, JP, your Padres look good, but then again, it's not October yet.
Starting off with storyline number 6, we have the upcoming NFL draft. And yeah, we still got some time before it arrives, but for football fans, is there anything quite like mock draft season? It's a beautiful time of year, and we all enjoy it. So that's why I wanted to bring up this storyline, because I'm going to be doing my final mock draft, the JP 26 2.0. It's a lot of numbers. And it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's going to be happening next week. I have decided for the final mock draft that I'm going to be doing 2 different mock drafts in one. Okay? On one column, I'm going to be doing what I think the NFL teams are going to do. And then on the other column, I'm going to be doing what I would do if I were that NFL team. And that way we kind of get a good look at both. Because I feel like a lot of times what happens with mock drafts is we all sort of do this thing where we're trying to project what this team would do, but we're also kind of interjecting our own opinion on who they should draft. And it kind of gets a little bit of this washy thing going on. So I just want to separate them completely. We're going to do what I think they're going to do. We're going to do what I would do if I were them. We're going to leave it like that. And you guys can judge me in the comments and tell me what a fucking idiot I am.
You're a real hooker, and I'm going to slap you in public.
Like putting an Ohio State quarterback at the number 7 overall pick.
You went full retard, man. Never go full retard.
Storyline number 5, UFC 314. Oh, chef's kiss. Beautiful card put together. Have the cards been fantastic recently? Not exactly. There's been a couple, duds here and there. But there's also been some bangers. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you guys are going to watch any of the cards, this is the one to watch.
Okay.
You know that you're going to get a fucking banger when 50K Dan Ige is fighting on the prelims. Buddy.
I'm not your buddy, friend. He's not your friend, guy. I'm not your guy, buddy. He's not your buddy, friend. I'm not your friend, guy.
Let me tell you something. Dominic Reyes, Nikita Krylov, Bryce Mitchell, Jean Silva, Patricio Pitbull, Yair Rodriguez, Patty Pimblett, Michael Chandler, Alexander the Great Volkanovski, and Diego Lopez. I mean,
you have a massive erection.
Really? Yes, I do. I'm sorry. It's the pleats.
I do. I will. You know what I mean? That's how I feel. Pretty excited about it. I'm pretty excited about it, as you guys can tell. So we're going to be doing that. And then afterwards, once we get done watching that fight, we're going to be having a couple of the buddies here to go over what we thought of, how our predictions came out, what do we think the storylines coming out of that are. So
I'm here to tell you right now,
We don't care.
Let me tell you.
We don't care.
There's going to be a lot to go over. There's going to be some implications coming afterwards. Obviously, if Volkanovski wins, there's some potential matchups to be had, but he's cleaned out a lot of that division before Topuria arrived. So it makes it a bit tricky. If Diego Lopez wins, on the other hand, it kind of opens up the entire division, and it probably ends up starting off with Movsar Evloev, given their fight that they had when Diego Lopez first entered the UFC.
I didn't think you had it in you.
I'm your huckleberry.
You look like somebody just walked over your grave.
So lots of things to go over from UFC 314 when that comes up here next Saturday. That is going to be live from Miami, Florida. All right.
Can't wait.
Storyline number 4. The Atlanta Braves. Guys, baseball season has started, and I'm very excited. You guys know I'm a Padres fan. Right now, as of this moment of recording, we have the best record in baseball.
Oh, scary. Oh, shiver my timbers. Shut up, man.
It's early, and that doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot, but it is good news. On the other hand, the Braves have been awful.
You suck, you jackass.
In fact, they got swept by the Padres 4-0 to open the year. So they have been having a tough time. At the time of this recording, they only have 1 win on the year, which is kind of crazy for a team with as much money invested in the team that they do have and as much talent that seems to be on that team, but just isn't really paying off at the moment. So I don't know what's going on with the Braves. I know I got a lot of Braves fans that are my friends, and they seem a little bit befuddled as well. They can't really seem to figure out what's going on with this team. Obviously, Jurickson and Profar getting caught with PEDs or whatever it was and getting suspended for 80 some odd games. That's going to hurt quite a bit. They're in a tough position, and the problem is when you look at the National League, you got the Padres, you got the Dodgers, you got the Giants, you got the Phillies, you got the Mets, you got the Cubs. I mean, there's other teams we could go over, but there's going to be a number of teams that are going to be vying for playoff spots and wild card, and it's going to make it tough for the Braves to get, back in this thing if they don't start pulling it together here somewhat soon. Now, of course, we are still really early in the year, but at a certain point, you start wondering how much of this is bad luck and how much of this is just the team's not as good as we expected. So that's my storyline. Don't know what's going on with the Braves, but hopefully they figure it out. Or don't.
What the fuck does that mean?
Heartbreak.
Storyline number 3. And this one just happened today. At the time of recording, of course. Mike Malone fired as head coach of the Denver Nuggets.
You are the weakest link. Goodbye.
And the GM. To me, the bigger deal right now is Mike Malone. Obviously, we can come back to the GM, at a later date. But the reality is, when it comes to heading into the playoffs, the thing that actually matters is your head coach being fired. The GM's already constructed the roster, which some are saying is not very good outside of Jokic.
God damn. You got to be a stupid motherfucker to get fired on your day off.
You're talking about a team that's currently the 4 seed with a potential to end up as the 2 seed if things play out correctly the rest of the year. Granted, it doesn't look like it will, but they still have a chance at that 2 seed to finish out the year, and they fired their coach. Now, this comes after Mike Malone made some comments about his team and pretty much threw him under the bus and said a lot of the guys don't study film and a lot of the guys are out there fucking off. And that's obviously a bad look.
The guys that are fully won't hear it. You know, they'll say coach is tripping. And the guys that maybe do really care will, because they're not going to go back and watch their minutes, because nobody watches their minutes. Nobody watches film. So we'll have to show them the film.
But it seemed to me like Mike Malone was trying to wake up his team before the playoffs and really put a spotlight on these guys to get them to act.
Today, Junior?
To get them to act a little bit more how he wants them to act. But it didn't really pay off. Apparently the ownership didn't like it very much and they fired him. To me, there's two things that I think of coming out of this. One is, how great is Nikola Jokic for fourth place to not be good enough to keep your job as a head coach right before the playoffs? Pretty dang good, I would say, and sort of understandable given how great that guy really is.
He's good.
Neither here nor there. And number two, how serious are the Nuggets about actually chasing a championship this year? You fire your head coach before the playoffs start? I don't know. It just, is there any vision that the talent on this team now without their longtime head coach is going to lead to success throughout the playoffs? I wouldn't think so. But at the end of the day, the head coach is the one that sets the culture, right? The guy's been the head coach for, 10 years now? And the culture has gotten so bad that he can't control the locker room anymore. So I sort of understand it at the same time. I don't know. I'm not a Nuggets fan. I don't pay maybe enough attention to them to be fully speaking on them this way. But my 2 cents from the outside looking in, again, from the outside looking in, is I don't see a world where your chances improve at winning a title with the best player in the world right now, Nikola Jokic, by firing the head coach a week before the playoffs start. It would seem to me that makes your chances worse. But maybe I'm an idiot.
And that's the truth. With some cheese on it. There ain't no meatloaf between these buns.
Storyline number 2 coming out of this week. The Florida Gators get it done. And shout out to the guy who was watching the Gators in the first round of March Madness, where he was a Gators fan and he said that this is the most together team he's ever seen. And he's been watching this Florida Gators team pretty religiously since the 70s. He's an alum of Florida, and he said that this is the most together team that he has seen, and that includes that team that had Joakim Noah and Al Horford back in the day that ended up winning the title back-to-back for those Florida Gators. He said that this team is more together than that team, and he fully expects them to win the championship this year. And they did. So good call, my friend. He also said that he was really glad that they went through a game like they did, which I believe was in, I want to say the Elite Eight. I could be wrong about that, but they had a close game in the Elite Eight. And he said that he thought that would actually be really good for him, wake him up a little bit and get him used to playing in one of those tight games down the stretch. And boy, did that pay off, because in that championship game, you're talking about a game that came down to the final shot. I mean, it really did. They had to rally from like double-digit points down, came all the way back.
Cryer, 6 seconds, 5 seconds, sharp. He walked, he can't touch it. He can't. 1 second, and it's over. Florida is back on top of the college basketball world. Championship madness. It's a great day to be a Gator. They win the national title.
And they ended up making the plays that needed to be made to win the championship. So shout out to Florida Gators. The SEC continues to do its thing. Obviously, Ohio State got one for the Big Ten over there in football. And now Florida gets SEC one back in basketball. So shout out to you, Florida. The Gators were unbelievable. Clayton, I thought, played unbelievable. I thought this Florida team was probably the better team from a technical standpoint from Houston. But let's give a shout out to Houston, because nobody gave Houston a chance when we were in the Final Four, at least from what I was seeing. It was like everybody was picking Duke, Florida, Auburn, and then way down the list, you had people picking Houston. And Houston gave Duke hell. They probably should have lost to Duke, but they made the plays at the end, and Duke kind of choked it away. And they probably should have put it away against Florida, but Florida started making some unbelievable plays, and they ended up coming back at them. But either way, they gave both teams hell. And you got to give their coach a lot of credit for that. You got to give their scrappiness a lot of credit. They are so good on defense. They made life a nightmare for the Gators for much of that game on offense. And you gotta give Houston some credit, man. They went a lot further than people expected them to. But in the end, ultimately, the Florida Gators won, which is what a lot of people had on their bracket. So once again, shout out to the Florida Gators. Congratulations on the NCAA championship. You did it.
Hell of a season, pal. Hell of a season.
And finally, storyline number 1. Alexander Ovechkin has passed the Great One.
Here is Ovechkin. Shoots. He scores! He scores! Number 895.
Unbelievable. I saw it live. Not at the game live, but you know what I mean. I was watching it live, and it was an amazing thing to see. It really was. You know, they're in New York, which I think it's pretty poetic, right? Because as far as I understand it, Gretzky broke it against the Islanders as well, I think. And they did it in the same amount of games. And it's pretty cool, right? Because New York, you're going to get fans from there's so many transplants and so many different people around New York. You're going to get fans from all kinds of teams coming to that game, because they understand that it isn't just the Islanders versus the Capitals, it's Ovi going for the record. And so I think there was a lot of people there that were just hockey fans, and they were just there to appreciate what they might see, and they did see it. We saw greatness. Capitals get the power play. It didn't take long into that power play, did it? First time over, they swing it over to Ovechkin, and he's in fucking Ovi land over there where he likes to snipe from. And what does he do? He snipes it like Ovi does. You know, basically pinpoints that motherfucker in the, you know, tightest part of the net that you could. Goalie didn't have a fucking chance. And Ovi gets the record. And it was amazing. His celebration, they took about, you know, 30 to 45 minutes in between action to like celebrate it. Like did a whole ceremony on the ice. That was kind of wild. But it was really cool. They had Gretzky come out there and talk, and I thought Gretzky was just amazing. He was pure class. Made me laugh a few times. I'm sure made a lot of you guys laugh that watched it. And it was just really awesome to see Ovechkin with his family and with all the support that he had from them and all the love that he was giving to them. And you got to see his kids there, and it was just really cool for me. I'm a huge Ovechkin fan. I really appreciate the way he plays the game. And so I really just want to take this shout out, you know, to Ovechkin to say thank you for what you do for the game of hockey. Thank you for the way that you play the game of hockey. Thank you for all the memories and all the things that you've done on the ice. And certainly after watching sports for so many years and getting to appreciate all the greatness that I've seen throughout my career. And, you know, if you guys don't know, I grew up a huge Kobe Bryant fan. Love that guy. You know, rest in peace to my guy. And Ovi was actually friends with Kobe. And so I always like to give these guys their flowers while they're still here, because you just don't know what tomorrow brings. And the reality is, we all know that Ovi's on the back nine of his career, right?
Are you crying? Yeah, I'm fucking crying. Get out of here, Babs. Get the fuck out of here. Get out of here.
And just to thank you for, you know, everything that you've done for the game of hockey and done for entertaining us over the last 20 years. It's been a privilege to watch you play, and I think I speak for a lot of people when I say that. And you're the fucking man, Ovi. So shout out, man. Congratulations on the record. That's fucking awesome.
Woo! Woo! Woo!
Now, I gotta make this shot, guys. I'm on a fucking massive losing streak when it comes to shooting this basket.
Why are you in such a bad mood?
What do you care?
So before we get out of here, we need to hone all the energy that we can. And we're gonna make this shot, okay? Deal. Holy shit.